The Trump administration's use of National Guard troops in California for immigration enforcement is illegal and violates federal law. The Posse Comitatus Act, passed in 1878, clearly prohibits the use of military to execute domestic law. In fact, the entire act just reads as whoever, in accepting cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or an act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, or the Space Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined under this title or in prison not more than 2 years or both. And to avoid any confusion, members of the National Guard are usually not covered by the Posse Comitatus Act unless they are federalized, as in the present case. Now, nearly 140 years later, President Trump has tried to argue he needed to quell a rebellion and ensure federal immigration law was enforced. There was no rebellion, and civilian law enforcement was able to respond to any protest and enforce the law. Trump used armed soldiers to set up perimeters and blockades, engage in crowd control, and demonstrate a strong military presence in and around Los Angeles. Judge Breyer issued an injunction ordering the military to stop breaking the law, but has stayed this injunction until September 12th to allow for an orderly appeal. Judge Breyer cites statements from Trump about deploying the National Guard to other cities as grounds for finding an injunction necessary. It should be noted that every soldier is required to disobey clearly unlawful orders. This ruling is a step where potentially in the future another illegal order might not be followed through the chain of command. And if you're asking what is the big deal having the military perform law enforcement functions on American citizens, I shall leave you with this scene from Battlestar Galactica.
There's a reason why you separate military and the police. One fights the enemy of the state. The other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people.
Democracies thrive when citizens hold their government accountable. This accountability stems from the people's responsibility for their government's actions and laws, as they are the ones who elect political leaders. Holding the government accountable benefits society as a whole. John Locke famously stated, by consenting with others to form one body politic under one government puts himself under the obligation to everyone in that society. We must be vigilant to identify instances where the government oversteps its authority. In fact, it's our patriotic duty. So say we all.